What's up, everyone? I hope you're having a fantastic day. Jim from Backyarders TV here. Today we are starting off the brand new Warframe Beginner's Guide series. I'm looking to do an episode every week or so, and we're going to introduce smaller concepts and build up on our information as we progress. Today we're going to cover 3 topics. Firstly, we're going to talk about what you should do as a new player, as in what activities you should undertake each day. Secondly, we're going to cover a few of the menu changes that I put in place that make my game look better, and you can these are optional, but you can use them if you want. And thirdly, we're going to cover the parkour system or the movement system in Warframe and get you flowing and moving across the map a lot smoother and a lot quicker. Let's get into it. So one of the main questions I get every day on stream is, what should I work on? What should I focus on after I've done the opening quest? How do I get the good stuff? And how do I quickly get to the end game so I can get to the good stuff? Can I catch up to everyone else? Warframe doesn't quite work in that fashion. So let's talk about the differences between Warframe and other looter shooters. Most other looter shooters will have weapons that you pick up early, and they will have a set of stats on them, and then later on as your level goes up, you'll get that same weapon again with better stats on it, and then later on you'll get it again, and you keep rolling the same weapon, just trying to get those stats as good as you can get them. In Warframe, it doesn't work that way at all. The weapons that you get from the marketplace are the weapons. That's it. You get the weapon, and the way it scales is based on the mods that you put on them. So we'll cover the mods and how to go about modding weapons in a later video, but for now it's important to understand that you don't get a starting weapon, except the MK1 weapons, which we'll talk about in a minute. You don't get a starting weapon and then it's no longer good at later on in the game. All the weapons are usable. Now, it's all based on those mods. Another thing is, people come in and will ask me about what's the best class or what's the best frame. I always like to say that Warframe doesn't work in that way, that you pick a class, you pick a frame, and that's my character, and that's who I'm going to use for the game. I always like to think about Warframe as giving you tools that you put in your tool belt, and then you have jobs to do. So depending on what job you're trying to do, you'll take out a certain Warframe and a certain weapon. Now, the hammer isn't better than the saw, but it's better to hammer things, and the saw's better to cut things, right? So depending on the job you're doing, you'll take the right tool for that right job. So all of the weapons and all of the frames are usable. They don't have, look, there are better weapons and then worse weapons, but they're not based on level. So some of the weapons you'll unlock later are not better necessarily than the weapons you unlock immediately. Again, except for the MK1 weapons. So a lot of it comes down to personal preference and play style. Then it also comes down to what job you're tackling at the time. So let's cover what you should work on as a new player and how to make sure that you are progressing in a way that you won't hit a wall and then realize, oh, I've missed out on a whole bunch of things because I've been focusing one area. So let's have a look. So if we go to the front of the ship, one of the first things I always tell people to do is to work on the star chart. And what that means is to work through the different nodes. Now, I've got everything unlocked, obviously, but you want to work through all the nodes, but you don't want to focus the nodes only. You don't just want to blitz through and get to the extraction as soon as you can, just to tick off the node that it's done. If you do that, you'll be missing out on some of the resources that you can collect along the way. Those resources will be used later on for building weapons, building warframes, upgrading the mods, and things like that. And we'll cover that in later on in this series. So star chart progression is one thing. Secondly, while you're doing your star chart, you want to come over to your marketplace. And if you click on the categories, you got your warframes and your weapons. And if we start with the weapons, you can have a look at your primary weapons and you can pick up a weapon. So let's talk about the MK1 weapons. The MK1 weapons are your starting weapons, and they're sort of, let's call them sample weapons. Just give you an idea. You pick them up immediately as pre-built. You do get to choose one at the start during the tutorial, and it doesn't matter which one you choose, you're gonna level them up and just be done with them. So let's say during the tutorial, we chose the MK1 Paris, and we've leveled that up and we've mastered it. And now we want to get another weapon. So we can get the MK1 Bratton. Now the Bratton here, because it's an MK1 weapon, you can buy it directly with credits. Now credits you earn through playing the game. Buying it with credits is great. This will actually give you the gun itself. So you can level the MK1 weapons, but let's say we've done that, and now we want a better weapon. So let's get the Heck. So if we purchase the blueprint, right? The blueprint costs 25,000 credits, and that'll just give us the blueprint. Then we have to go off and build it. So to build the Heck, we need 25,000 credits to build it, 5 neuroids, 900 circuits, 1200 salvage, and 1000 rubido, right? So if we buy that, we don't have the weapon yet. We've just got the blueprint. So now we need to go off and farm those materials. Another question I get all the time is, where do I get this material? Where do I get that material? I personally can't keep track of it all. You know, you sort of get a feel for where certain things are, but the easiest way that I've found is to always click on the resource drone button down here, and you can hover over the resource drones, and it will tell you what items drop on that planet. Here it says on Earth, we are going to get ferrite, rubido, neuroids, and detonite ampules. So if we ever need those resources, we can do missions on Earth and we'll collect them. Generally, I would go into a longer mission like a survival, and you can, gather them while you're doing the survival. So we are working on building a weapon, and we are working on our star chart at the same time. We're also leveling that the weapons that we already have and the warframes that we have. So there's already 3 things that we're doing at the same time. If we do this, we are constantly sort of balancing out I like to think of it as towers. And if you build a tower too high without supporting towers, it's going to topple over. So you want to be doing, your star chart, leveling a weapon, leveling a warframe, gathering resources, and all of that together as you progress through will give you the ability to build the next weapon, build the next warframe, and you would have gone through the star chart as well. You'll have the resources ready to go. Another thing to be working on at the same time is if you come back to your codex here and do your quests. Now, your quests, that's the opening quests, tick through the quest. Now, each quest will have a prerequisite, and it will tell you if you haven't done them. So that's something else you can do. So you want to work on your quest, your star chart, gathering resources, leveling weapons, and warframes at the same time. And it all happens in a balanced way. So the second thing I want to talk about is some settings that you can change in the menus that I think will make your game experience a lot better. Let's have a look at a few of those. So one of the first things I like to turn off is context action includes reload. What this does is it shares the button X for PC, which is your interact with the world button, open lockers or hack a console, with your reload button. So if your weapon needs to be reloaded and you press X, it will reload the weapon. Now the problem is often you don't quite line up with the target that you're trying to hit. Here, for example, if I hit X, it'll reload, and I really wanted to just get the cache. It reloads it first, and that can sort of interrupt your flow. For that setting, go into the menu, hit escape, go to options, under controls. If you scroll down a little bit, you will see context action includes reload. Now, if you turn that off, if you were to go up to a cache and hit X and you slightly missed it, that's fine, nothing happens. Another setting I like to turn off is in the display options. If you hit escape, go to options, display, scroll down to the very bottom. I think it's the 4th from the bottom, and there it is, color correction. You see the tooltip says it improves the accuracy of scene, exposure, white balance, etc. It is on by default, and what it does, beyond doing the color correction, is on abilities, it will make the screen flash orange. And this can be very distracting, especially in certain scenes that are already orange, like any Grenier tile set. So Loki is a prime example of this. When you go invisible with Loki, everything gets super orange. With that setting off, while you're invisible, the screen still remains the same color, so it doesn't shift at all. So you can go invisible and it looks the same. Another setting I recommend you turn off is motion blur. Again, that is under the display settings. It's on by default. And it just blurs the scene as you go. I prefer it with it off. So this is what it looks like on. And this is what it looks like with it off. See, nothing blurs as you bullet jump. Those settings are purely optional and up to you whether you like them on or off, but have a play with them and find what you prefer. And the third thing I want to talk about today is movement in Warframe. They've added the parkour system a couple years ago, and it's a lot more fluid than it used to be. It used to be very run and gun style, where you'd just run around like this and you'd shoot the enemy and that would be that. Very slow and boring style of play. they have added, like I say, the parkour system. So let's show you how to string some of these moves together so you can fly fluidly through the environment. The first thing you want to do is crouch and then press jump. Crouch will give you the slide, which is great on its own, but when you press jump alongside it, you get a bullet jump. So just practice your crouch and jump back and forth till you got that down. That's it. This is your base movement technique. This will get you flying a lot quicker and you'll be able to keep up. Instead of breaking out of your bullet jump and then getting back into a run and gun, you can string this along with a roll. So if you do a bullet jump and then do a double shift, which is a sprint, so double sprint button after you've done your bullet jump, you can string a roll together and then you can go straight back into your bullet jump. So you bullet jump, double shift, control space, double shift, control space, double shift. Now the good thing about this is you can change direction mid-flight and jump around anywhere you want to go. So that's a combination that most Warframe players will use on a day-to-day basis, and it's their it's their basic motion. The bullet jump and then the shift to couple with that. A couple months ago, they did add the new directional slam. So what that is, while you're in the air and you can bullet jump straight up, you can now slam with your melee weapon in a direction. So that's another thing that you can do to get you around the map quite quickly. So now all you need to do is aim towards the ground out in front of you and then press your E button or melee button and it will ground slam in that direction. So you can get around using that as a tool. So another thing you can do with your bullet jump is jump straight up into the air. That'll get you some nice height, and while you're up there you can hold your aim button and that will give you an aim glide. Now you can use this to project yourself forward or just hover straight down, and it is useful for both of those functions. So bullet jump straight into the air, hold your aim button and glide. It's called the aim glide. To get across a big ravine, you can do a bullet jump and then just glide across it. And if you time it right, you can do your bullet jump, glide, and before the glide breaks, you can do your roll. You can do your double shift or your double sprint roll. So bullet jump, glide, double shift. Bullet jump, glide, double shift. So you've added an extra element in here and you now have your movement. You can cover a very great distance with a single flowing motion. So we can string it all together and do a bullet jump with a roll, bullet jump, aim glide, and then a roll. And then we can also get some height and then we can do a ground slam and crush some enemies along the way. All right, friends, I'm going to leave it there for this one. I hope you got something out of this video. This is just an introduction into the series. I'm looking to produce one of these videos every week, and we're going to get into the more advanced topics as we progress. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you are notified of the next videos in the series. Also, if you did enjoy this, give it a thumbs up. It does help the channel. If you'd like to join us on Twitch, you can do so Sunday to Thursday, 3 through to 11 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. I'll leave a link for that down in the description below, along with a Discord channel where we have a Warframe new player channel and more advanced channels as well. So if you're interested in that, you can join us across there. Until the next one, friends, thank you so much for watching and have a great day.